Yo, what's going on everybody? So today I want to have a conversation with you guys about what happened between the events of chapter 36 and chapter 37 of the Boruto manga. So obviously if you're an anime only viewer, this video is going to contain spoilers. I'm not going to have as many spoiler heavy videos this week, so I thank you for your support. I will once again very strongly implore you guys to start reading the Boruto manga, because when I say it's absolutely on fire right now, the Boruto manga is giving us stuff very close to what you got with Naruto when Naruto was in Weekly Shonen Jump. So think back to about the stuff right before the Pain arc. That's about where the quality of the Boruto manga is right now. It's a monthly series, so it isn't moving as quickly as the Naruto manga, but when it comes to the stakes and the tension, it's very high right now. So I very strongly recommend that you guys check it out. I have links down in the description box for you guys to read the manga and do so in a way that supports the channel. So with that being said, if you're still here, then I'm assuming you're completely okay with spoilers. So in Boruto chapter 35, there was a very strong, what I feel, bit of foreshadowing where you have Jigen and he pauses for a second, and it almost looks as if when he turns his head, he's looking in the direction of Sasuke. It's a very subtle turn, and when you look at his eyes after he started absorbing that Ten Tails chakra, and when that happens, I said in my chapter review, and I said in the subsequent videos afterwards, that I felt as if Jigen was aware of Sasuke's presence, and I thought for certain that we were going to get a Sasuke versus Jigen fight, because we had already seen Naruto throw down with Delta, and so it makes sense that Sasuke would get an opportunity to fight and kind of test his mettle. Now, as we all know, in Boruto chapter 36, we actually got the exact opposite. Like, Naruto is ready to go for round 2 against the big dog of Kari. He's getting ready to go up against the leader of the organization. And one thing that immediately stood out to me when I was reading the chapter is the fact that there was a lot of foreshadowing about Sasuke, and not all of it's good. So if you're a Sasuke fan, I know that this probably triggers you, but I'm gonna ask that you kind of put your emotions to the side for a second. Let's just look at some of the clues and foreshadowing that we have here. Now, starting with the actual chapter itself, starting with the chapter when you get all this talk about Sasuke, about how he should be coming back to Konoha, about how Sakura brings him flowers every time, and Sakura and Ino, they're talking about getting flowers. Now you might say, well, why is that a big deal? Well, what I would say to you is go back to Naruto Shippuden. Go back to Naruto Shippuden for those of you who watch the anime. When Asuma was getting ready to get killed off, one of the things that we saw is that he was doing the whole flower thing with Kurenai, and all that build up was there. We know that Kodachi likes to do a lot of homages to what we got in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. So that right there is an homage in itself. Now, the other thing is when you start looking at it, they're talking as if they know Sasuke is immediately coming home, like there is no worry. And you would definitely think that Sakura knows that Sasuke is going on that dangerous mission, because Sai was the one who gave him the intel, and if Sai is going to give it to Sasuke, you know that Naruto had to have signed off on it. So given the fact that Sakura has said in the past that, okay, well, I can sense Sasuke, we're connected in more ways than one. Well, one of the things that you get, once again going back to the Kurenai thing, is that Kurenai had a moment where all of a sudden she sensed that Asuma was in trouble, and she got confirmation of it when Shikamaru met her and told her what happened to Asuma, and then she broke down into tears. So I'm thinking we could get something similar to that. Now I want to kind of point your attention to something else, okay? When Sasuke uses that Rinnegan space-time jutsu, right? So when he starts going through all these different portals, Sasuke is drained of a considerable amount of chakra, and given the fact that we just saw Jigen in his base without using any of that Otsutsuki chakra that he got from the Ten Tails, was able to blitz Naruto and kick him cleanly across the room before Naruto could figure out what was going on. Granted, Naruto was in his base, but at the same time Naruto's guard was up, and Naruto even acknowledged that Jigen was really fast. It doesn't surprise me that if Sasuke entered in that fight, given the fact that Sasuke would be heavily fatigued at this point, it is very possible. It is very possible that Sasuke found himself in a situation he couldn't escape. Now, here's another thing you have to consider. Now, when Sasuke sensed Jigen's power, immediately he senses it, and he thinks it's a big enough threat that he has to go to Naruto. He feels like he has to go to Naruto and warn Naruto about the tremendous power that he's sensing. Now, you might ask, well, why is that such a big deal? Like, Sasuke, even at less than 50% of his chakra, he and Naruto were able to completely mollywop Momoshiki. Well, the thing is we have to start taking the shonen trope into consideration. Jigen is the leader of Kara. It is very possible, in fact it's very likely, that Jigen might very well, when he has the Otsutsuki form, be able to be stronger than Momoshiki, especially if what they're kind of hinting to actually pans out to be true, which is that Jigen was Kaguya's partner. We very well could find out that this was actually who she was afraid of. I know the anime gave us a little flashback where you saw Kaguya and there are 3 people in the distance, but let's keep this in mind, okay? Let's keep this in mind. In the manga, we didn't actually see that. That was never foreshadowed in the manga. They just stated that Kaguya was building an army. They never really said why. And because this is the manga continuity, I think you have to start taking into account the different things that the Naruto manga was bringing up. Now, the other reason why I want to kind of bring this to you guys' attention is I did a video a few months back. I talked about Sasuke Uchiha, the Path of the Tyrant. And I talked about how Sasuke is, his story, his hero's journey is beginning all over again. Well, when you look at Boruto Uzumaki is approaching the point in the hero's journey where, depending on how fast the pacing goes for the story, depending on how fast it goes, Boruto is coming to a point where he should be losing the father figure. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's gonna be Sasuke. That's the most likely candidate, but he and Naruto have gotten very close, and we know that by the events of chapter 1 of Boruto during that flash forward sequence, that it's heavily implied that Naruto's dead or he's been sealed away somewhere, that Kawaki's done something to him. So the fact that we do know that something that happens to Naruto does kind of imply that Sasuke is safe. But I want you guys to go back to the beginning of the Boruto series. So go back to the flash forward sequence. If you're reading the manga, you're not going to be able to catch what I'm saying unless you look at the colored pages. If you are a anime viewer, pay very close attention to the things I'm about to drop out to you. So the first thing you have to look at, okay, and I should have scans up on the screen right now. I try to stay away from using scans and too many screenshots just because of how the algorithm works, because of the content ID problems, but I'm gonna kind of roll the dice on this one. So in Boruto, during the flash forward sequence, a lot of people gloss over the fact that the sword that Boruto's using looks very similar to Sasuke's sword. So much so that I actually think it might actually be Sasuke's sword. Now, you might ask why. Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's a generic design, okay? When you look at it, it has the same gold top as Sasuke. It has the same white bandages, and the blade is constructed in a very similar manner. When you start looking at Sasuke's design sheet for Boruto the movie, when you look at Sasuke's design sheet for the Boruto anime, that's something that's very consistent. And so when you look at it, Boruto has a lot of things on him that are paying homage to Sasuke Uchiha. First of all, he has Sasuke's headband. Now, we do know that Sasuke gave Boruto his headband in the events of Boruto the movie, as well as in the manga and the anime, so that very well could just be Boruto keeping a bit of a keepsake. But if you look a little closer as well, Boruto does have a cloak. Now, depending on which version you're looking at, if you're looking at the colored manga version, the inside of the cloak is actually red, but if you look at the anime version, I don't believe that the inside of the cloak is red in the anime version. It looks very similar to Sasuke's cloak. So again, this could be something where if Sasuke is killed off during this time, if this does happen and Kawaki is taken away from Konoha and he's taken to be with Jigen, that is his central conflict. I could definitely see him, because it's in Boruto's character, to start wearing clothes that pay homage to Sasuke. We already saw Boruto using Naruto's uniform. We already saw that. He had Naruto's old dusty beat up uniform, and if we know anything about Kodachi, it's the fact that he does like to pay homage to all the different things that have been done in the past when it comes to Naruto. So a little bit of a wink wink to fans. And so when you look at the fact that Naruto and Sasuke usually develop like equals, when something happens to one, a similar event happens to the other. Well, we've already seen Naruto being paid homage by Boruto when Boruto puts on his uniform, his complete uniform. Now, it would make a lot of sense if they took this route with Sasuke, whereas instead of Boruto putting on Sasuke's old uniform, so not the khaki pants and the blue shirt that he had when Sasuke was a kid, but the actual uniform that Sasuke had when Boruto first met Sasuke. So that cloak and the sword and the headband, all that makes sense when you look at that. All that really makes sense. And when you start looking at the bleak and grim future that Boruto has, it would make sense why he has the expression, the very tired expression, when he's facing Kawaki. But I want to know from you guys, I really want to know from you guys, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Sasuke got killed off? Do you agree with me? Do you think that Sasuke probably got killed off screen, and it's going to be something that probably, if this is something that happened, so if it did happen, I give it like a 50% shot at this point, but if it did happen, if Sasuke was defeated off screen, if he was killed off screen, or just severely wounded, one of those three outcomes, okay? If that happens, I definitely think they're going to give it to us via flashback. But what do you think the impact on Boruto as a character is going to be if any of these scenarios happen? Like I said, I give it about a 50% shot. I don't feel as confident with this as I did with some of my other predictions and theory videos. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.